Hey everybody, this is Dave with Synergetics USA. Thanks for joining us again. In our last video, we had about purpose-based organizations and we struck a chord. We got a lot of responses from people out there about several of the different slides, but the one that was probably the most impactful was managing people versus leading people. So we've got a presentation here to share with you in regards to what we call the difference. So let's go ahead and cue that up for you. Okay, so again, back to Close Encounters of the Humankind. And this is the business in modern world. And we call this episode or this particular video, The Difference. Now we took a segment from our leadership development training as just the first part of the training and thought we'd use that to talk about this topic that just got a huge response over the half a dozen platforms that we posted the video on, the difference. So it's important that we understand that we manage processes. We manage the administrative side, we manage tracking goals and progress towards those goals, managing projects. But what we oftentimes get confused is that we try to manage people. And the important thing is that you need to lead people, not manage people. They're not a process. They're human beings, and we need to have human interaction. So let's talk about this. There are two different skill sets when it comes to management and processes and how to lead and inspire and support people. So it's important that we understand that difference and that we lead with that difference in mind. And when I talk about leaders, you and I both know there are formal leaders out there that have formal authority, and leader may even be in their job title. But there's a lot of informal leaders out there. These are people that others follow for very important reasons. And we're going to talk about those today. So we're going to start off with an icebreaker. Well, it's not really an icebreaker, but it's our first exercise in the leading in the new age. And I want you to take a moment and think about this. Okay, this is your own experience self-check. I want you to think of a poor leader or a bad boss experience that you've had in the past. And most of us have had those, unfortunately. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a minute to write down 3 words to describe this boss. Okay, so go ahead and write down. I'm going to give you a minute. Some of you might get more than 3. Don't stop. I'll let you know when you're done. Okay, I have 10 seconds left. Okay, so you should have at least 3 things that you've written down. Some of you probably have a dozen. And it's kind of therapeutic to write down these things. You find that the emotion, that the words that you wrote down on that list still come up. You still feel some of that, maybe some anxiety or maybe even anger, right? that's the impact that this bad boss had on you. And you're experiencing it both physiologically, psychologically, and emotionally. So in your own experience, and you're thinking about the bad boss, how did this person make you feel about yourself? How did this person make you feel about your work? How did this bad boss experience affect your career? Or even your perspective on your company, about your future, right? And then think about this. What effect did they have on others? I mean, if they had this impact on you, a very strong, probably very negative impact, do you think it was solely focused on you, or did they treat others within your department the same way? Did they treat people even outside the department the same way? This is something that we call the ripple effect. The ripple effect starts at the center core of this individual's behavior. Some people refer to them as a cancer, right? And it moves outward. It stifles productivity. It has a negative impact on quality. It stalls creativity and the ability to be innovative, solving problems, making decisions. All these things are impacted by this behavior. So very destructive, wouldn't you say? So people don't leave companies, they leave bosses. And this boss that you just wrote about and created this list might have been the reason why you left your organization. Might be the reason why other talented people left. Now, let's take a look at the alternative, because there is an alternative here. In your own experience, I want you to write down an experience that you had with a good boss, and hopefully you had a good boss experience in your career so far. If not, think of a teacher or coach or another individual who you saw as being a leader. I want you to take a moment and write down 3 words that you would use to describe this individual. Starting now. Mm-hmm. 10 more seconds. Okay. I don't know about you, but I seem to have an easier time writing down the negative attributes of the bad boss than I did writing down the positive attributes of a good boss. And I had a few really good bosses. My list for the negative seemed to be a little bit longer than my list for the positive. I can't really explain this. To some degree, psychologists say it's human nature for us to look or focus on the negative more than on the positive. However, when we have a good leader, they have a huge impact. Answer these questions once again. The good boss experience, how did this person make you feel about yourself? It gave you confidence. They may have even seen your abilities or your potential when you couldn't, and they brought those out in you. In your job, they made you feel important. They valued your contribution. They appreciated your being there. Makes all the difference in the world. About your career. Did you feel that you were in a dead-end job, or did you see an opportunity simply because your leader saw an opportunity for you, right? And about your company. And I don't know about you, but when I gone out to lunch or gone to dinner with people and they would ask me, hey, what do you do? And I was so excited about what I was doing, the team that I was on, the boss that I had. They're like, wow, you know, I wish I felt that way about my job. So these behaviors have a huge impact on us, whether we're aware of it or not. About your future, right? And then lastly, what was the ripple effect that was created by this good leader? Your teammates feel excited about the work. When you don't feel like you have to look out for number one or protect yourself, you have more open communication, more open relationships with the people that you work with because you're not dealing with trust issues. And we support each other. We have each other's backs. And that's a good feeling. It creates higher levels of productivity, higher levels of quality. It makes us more creative problem solvers, more innovative in our decision making. So there's a huge benefit that comes from this leadership style, yet so many people are brought up from the ranks because they did the work, again, management side of the process, right? But nobody was there to really teach us the positive people skills that we would need to be successful. And that's why I think not only our leadership program, but our communication skills program are probably the most frequent classes that we have requests for. So this is what we call the difference. Now you can take a look at those 2 sheets of paper that you have right in front of you and compare the boss to the leader. And it's significant. So let's take a look at that. So the behavior of the boss and the manager versus the leader. When it comes to leading, they lead through fear and intimidation, the boss. And the leader, they lead through empowerment and support of their people. They motivate, the boss, threats and punishment, where the leader motivates by inspiration, by mentoring, by having a partnership with you. Operates by the boss, authoritarian. It's their authority that they lean on solely to drive behavior, where the leader sees the value of creating positive relationships. Perspective, I, me, my is the boss or manager. It's self-serving, self-focused. But with the leader, it's us and we. Insights to action. The boss demands, ultimatums. The leader, enthusiasm, growth, unity. Excuse me. Focus, the boss, self-serving. The leader serves their people. So it really is this, you see the old pyramid thing and the boss is at the top and the people are down at the bottom. The enlightened leader flips that upside down and understands that they serve their people, not the other way around. Accountability. The boss puts blame on other people, skirts responsibility whenever possible, where the leader takes responsibility. And that can be a challenge as a leader, because oftentimes as a good leader, when things don't go well, we say, it's my responsibility, it's my fault. When things go well, we give the credit to the team, to the people who made it happen. Communication, limited and more on a telling level. They tell you what to do. And the leader is more transparent. They share. I don't know if I'd go as far as they sell, but when they share, they put their ideas, they share their thoughts, their feelings into the conversation. Strategy, immediate, short term. The boss is only focused on what I can get done right now. Where the leader is more of a visionary and is in, to steal something from Simon Sinek, they're in it for the infinite game. They're not there to finish by Friday. They understand the long term. And that's why they're more patient with their people, because they can see the value and the opportunity of those people into the future. So, possibilities and opportunities, we're going to talk about a matter of courage, interpersonal skills, and practice. These are the 4 things that we need to focus in on to continue to develop ourselves as leaders. Now, what's really interesting is that when we started out, I didn't tell you about leadership, but yet we all can recognize poor leadership very easily, and we can identify what good leadership is. And that good leader that you had in the past, that you wrote that list down on the second part of the exercise that we took. Did they say, hey, give me $50, I'll be a good leader? I just $50 a month and, I'll be a good leader to you. I don't think so, right? They did it because it was who they were. And they did it because they saw potential in you. And so I feel that I had an obligation to be that kind of leader to someone else, because I wanted people to think of me the way I thought of the good leaders that I had. So let's talk about that. As a good leader, you don't see the problems in the same way as the boss does. You don't see the issues and the situations the same way the boss does. You see it as an opportunity. You see it as something to be overcome, but with the talented people that you have working for you, and you sit down and share ideas and have what-if conversations, you almost look forward to those problems, right? Because it makes you feel good when you're able to take something that's negative, turn it into a positive, and move forward from it. It makes a stronger team, and it makes stronger individuals. A matter of courage. This is the biggest challenge, especially if you were a peer one day and ended up being in the leadership role the next. You have to have genuine, sincere, and honest conversations with your people. Now, I don't mean that you should sugarcoat things, not in the least, but you should be able to find the words to share with them the opportunities that they have for improvement in a way that motivates them, instill in them confidence so that they feel that they're not in this alone, that you're going to provide support and help them become successful. Really, really important. Interpersonal communication skills. Interpersonal skills are the grease on the wheel of relationships. If we have good relationships with our people and we trust them and they trust us, there isn't anything we can't overcome. Now, occasionally there are some challenges. People break rules, and they're serious rules, and we have to provide them an opportunity to work for another organization. That's unfortunate. Hopefully it's rare. But you notice how I said, and we got to fire them. Now, people make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes are extreme, and there's a need to provide them an opportunity to go work for another organization because they're not a fit for our team or our organization. And practice. Lastly, super, super important. We've got to practice, practice, practice. All you need to do is take those 2 sheets of paper where you've got a reminder of what the bad boss does and a reminder of what that good leader does, and put them in front of you at your desk, either at your remote office at home or in the office at work. One of my mentors, Hideo Suzuki, he was a lean guy. He used to always say, put that which is most important constantly in front of you, constantly within your vision, because what gets attention gets done, right? That's a Deming thing. But when we see it constantly in front of us, it's a constant reminder of how we need to behave. So practice is very, very important. And if we make a mistake, it's important to have that courage to go to that individual and sit down with them and say, hey, look, I was wrong. Let's talk about how we can make this right. how we can make it better. They will have more respect for you when you're willing to admit you made a mistake and you stay there to correct it, to work with them through it and get to the other side. These are so important. I know they sound, basic, but we forget them. So practice is another very important part of the process. Now, we have more on this topic at our website, www.synergeticsusa.org, or you can send me an email, and please do. If you don't do a comment down at the bottom, send me an email and say, hey, I was watching that vlog on The Difference, and these are some things that came up for me, and I wish that future videos that you do would talk about them in more detail. We're happy to do that. I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out to watch the video. I hope it benefits you. I hope you take those 2 lists and put them on your desk and drive better leadership in your life today. We'll see you soon. Take care of yourself and have a great week. Talk to you later.